Failure is probably the most important factor in all of my work. Writing is failure, over and over and over again. My name is Ta-Nehisi Coates. I'm a writer. Right now I'm a national correspondent for The Atlantic. I have a great interest in how wide the umbrella of human rights and democracy can expand, who it can include and who it can include. If you truly want to understand a problem, if you truly want to understand, a situation, which is what, journalism is supposed to be about, you really have to have a firm grounding in history. My argument for reparations for slavery is quite simple. African Americans from, the time that they arrived in colonial America, through the time in the founding of the country, through their enslavement through that period, up through Jim Crow, if you want to be conservative, up through 1968, the relationship between black people and their country is of their country taking from them. There's no way to have a 250 plus year history of extracting resources from a community and think you're going to fix the problems within that community without putting at least some of that back. That's the case for reparations. It's actually quite simple.
Well, here's the thing that really kind of got to me a little bit. I saw a lot of black people really celebrating his Genius Grant, and almost like some sort of special African American achievement, and all this stuff. And that, when I see that, that kind of affects me a little bit. I have to take a moment of pause, because one of the things that I notice is that we as black people, in many cases, we need validation from whites in order for us to feel like we've accomplished something. If we're not accepted by them, then we feel, maybe if we're marginalized, we feel like we're not quite as good, we're a little inadequate, or maybe we're a little envious of those who did get that white acceptance. I don't know. So going deeper, another thought that I have on Ta-Nehisi is this, and this is something that's very dangerous for black people. This is why you have to be real careful when you analyze stuff like this. When you celebrate a black first, or a black person who got something that was unique, and he was given that thing from whites, understand this. If Ta-Nehisi had not gained favor with whites and gotten that job at the Atlantic, he wouldn't have got this Genius Grant. He'd just be another nigger writing articles on the internet, or whatever he's doing, whatever he wanted to do. And I say it that way. I use the N-word deliberately because for many scores of black people, there's so many black people I can name that I know of who are doing an amazing job talking about the reparations conversation, who were doing it long before Ta-Nehisi came along, before I came along, etc. These are people to whom we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude, but these individuals don't get that recognition. Now, it makes sense, though, because sometimes their messages were too radical for whites to get comfortable with, right? They maybe were marginalized because of that. So you wouldn't expect white people to kind of award someone that they don't quite understand. But at the same time, so you don't fault them for giving the award to black people that they're comfortable with. That's natural. What you can fault, however, is the black people who will celebrate a black man who gets a job for getting a job at the Atlantic, but will not celebrate the black man who gets the job writing at what's that website that I love? It's a great Black Agenda Report. I can tell you what, the brothers that write at the Black Agenda Report are every bit as good as the folks who write at the Atlantic. In fact, they're better than the black people that write at the Atlantic. It's pretty much mostly Ta-Nehisi. A lot of these liberal articles about reparations. I'm so happy they gave the award to Ta-Nehisi. I'm glad for them. I really am. But at the same time, I want to be glad for us. I want us to be the ones who are making the decisions about who in our community deserves to be respected the most. If you ask me, for example, who would I put, who do I think is a more impactful, more meaningful, more relevant figure in the new millennium, and you measure up between Ta-Nehisi Coates and Dr. Umar Johnson, a person who has been highly rejected by the liberal establishment, it's not a contest to me. It's just not a contest. It doesn't mean that I agree with everything Umar says. It doesn't mean that Umar is perfect. I've critiqued Umar on many occasions. I'm not afraid to. But there's no comparison. But you really won't see Umar get that acceptance, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm not saying that they should accept him. What I'm saying is that you as a black person should make your own decision without that decision being muddled by this white supremacist notion that somehow being accepted by white people makes you automatic de facto superior entity over somebody who's not. Thinking about just this Ta-Nehisi thing and the Genius Grant and the black people that really celebrated this, almost like somehow you by getting acceptance from whites, you've accomplished something. That's not getting accepted by whites is not an achievement.
Yo, yo, welcome to Under the Influence Cocktails and Consciousness. This is a critical thinking platform where we talk about issues that are important to the black millennial and some issues not so important. As we know, some of those issues, if not all, are tough to handle. So we handle them with a cocktail. I am your host, Caleb, and joining me sometimes, always, Ivory.
Hi.
Hey, Ivory. All right. So, today's topic, Dr. Boyce Watkins versus Ta-Nehisi Coates. And should Ta-Nehisi Coates' MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant for, I don't know, I think it was upwards of $500,000. Yeah, I think $600,000. Should that be looked on as like highly praised by the black community? All right, so let us get right into it. So basically, I was, checking out the news as I usually do. I was checking out my black portion of the news, and I came across that Dr. Boyce Watkins, he really had some very colorful things to say, some colorful opinions, kind of comparing, contrasting, and just some commentary about Ta-Nehisi Coates and his newfound genius status. And I found that to be appealing to me because it's sometimes it's like we have the Drake versus Meek Mill beefs. We have the Young Thugger versus Game beefs. And even in basketball, you got Derrick Rose versus Jimmy Butler. And you got fucking DeAndre Jordan versus the whole Dallas Mavericks or the Clippers. And so people love to see rivalries. But in the intellectual world, how often do you get to see a good rivalry in the intellectual world? You know what I mean?
Not really a beef, though.
Yeah, but shit. Look, you never know. Some people are sensitive. Drake, damn. Drake went off on cats for being, we had the whole Cornell West and what's my brother's name? Cornell West was beefing with Eric Dyson. Yeah, Michael Eric Dyson. So it's very sensitive. So don't act like the scholastic world though. They get it in.
They do clearly like the Michael Eric Dyson and Cornell West was a beef, but Boyce Watkins said in the beginning of the video, like, this is nothing against Ta-Nehisi. I'm happy that he has it, and he definitely gave him, the accolades that he, deserves. So I don't know if it's necessarily a beef, and I certainly don't think that like Ta-Nehisi is gonna respond back. It's only a beef if they're going back and forth.
Hey, I don't know, man. Dr. Boy's been known to get it in, man. I saw him get it in with. I saw him get it in with Mark Eric Lamont. Now it wasn't really, they kind of like, shook hands in the day. It wasn't really nothing much, but
was it a debate?
Yeah, it's just a little something. They had a little Twitter battle.
Oh, okay.
In the world, put it like this: when you type on the keyboard, anything can be misconstrued. So hell, But like this was actually audio that I clicked on and it took me to the audio. So basically, all right. So basically, for you guys not knowing, Ta-Nehisi Coates is a writer. He's written for many publications, including Time Magazine, including The New Yorker. He's also written, I think, a post consistently with The Atlantic. And he's been building his rank up.
He's a columnist, so he does weekly posts.
Weekly posts. Okay.
With The Atlantic.
And he covers most of their black issues. He's their black guy.
He covers topics that are of interest to him.
Okay, which is mostly.
But they are of interest to him.
Okay.
He's not like the token.
No.
Because they tell him to. Those are like he was already initially writing things that were of interest to him, and people in the Atlantic and others caught wind to that and was interested in that. So I always say that it's something to be said when you are doing what it is that you want to do. and people gravitate to you because of that, as opposed to you doing something because somebody wants you to. There's a significant difference, and I think that's the kind of like the basis of what we're about to talk about. But
it is. So let's go ahead and get into that. Basically, he got an award. He's written a couple books. He's written, again, like you say, columns. And excuse me. Oh, you guys gotta excuse me, man. That was rough. All right.
probably edit that out.
Bless me, huh? Let's edit it out. Hey, this is unscripted. We get it in. I don't give a shit. But basically, Ta-Nehisi, like I said, he's a columnist, and he's written these stories, and
he's a writer. Just say he's a writer.
He's a writer. Okay, so he's written, and he's written for actually O Magazine also. I saw that too. So he's a pretty popular guy.
He's a writer.
He's a very popular guy, and he's how old is he?
Probably in his mid-30s.
Mid-30s, but he's saying it's like one of the brilliant minds of the millennials.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So basically, what Dr. Boyce Watkins was saying is that when we put him in the limelight because simply he's won an award that basically white people gave him, then we tend to look down upon the other black folks who did not get the award that he got. That's what I got from it, man. Because basically, my man, look, when he went ham on him, look, he said like, yo, he said, I know a website that's way better than Atlantic. And all the niggas write better than him. Like, basically, he says shit like that.
Right, but he didn't say that people look down on other people or sites that are not of white establishments. He said that he feels that black people get more excited when a white person shows a black person more or show them in the limelight or give them awards or accolades. Black people get more excited about that as opposed to like a black person getting excited about a black person giving an accolade. So it's kind of like the equivalent to like you get more excited about getting a Grammy than you do a BET award.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth, though?
Yeah, that is true, and I agree with that. And I think that is a problem. We devalue our own people's ability to like show each other love or give each other accolades. When a white person does it, we think that we have reached some pinnacle of success or that they have reached over and beyond. That is true. I don't personally think that it's true in this specific case though, because I think that across the board historically it's the MacArthur Foundation, the Genius Grant, they specifically seek out diverse ethnic art and artists and intellectuals, and they do that strategically, and they give them grants to do the work because they believe that they're going to do work that's significant for society. And given the things that Ta-Nehisi writes about and speaks about publicly, I think that it's trusted to say that he would do like important work.
Who gives them my question is this: who gives them the authority to give out the Genius Grant? Like, who the hell lets them decide who the genius is? Like, I mean, we got the NAACP, we do have BET, we do have, other, awards, ceremonies, and publications and stuff. Like, what the hell makes them?
Right. It's more than the title of, saying somebody's a genius. I think that's just honestly a tagline, because that can mean different things.
That's a very important tagline.
But that could mean one thing to you and mean something else to them. Like, I don't really put a lot of weight on the word, because even when you read it, they always put genius grant in quotations, because it's not necessarily about the term as much as it is like we have awarded these group of people, and it's actually 3 people of color. We've awarded these group of people with a grant to do work for 5 years. So, I mean, obviously they put that genius tagline on it because they believe that the work they're going to do is important and significant, and they have the mental ability to like do the work, and in your question, in terms of your question of who decides it, like I don't know the people personally, maybe that's something we can do research on and get back to the people with. But what I do know is that the MacArthur Foundation has had like a history of putting a lot of emphasis on diversity in terms of like not making it just about white people and white accomplishments. And also they have a track record of having the financial capital to invest money into work that is essential. So to me, giving this man a grant who talks publicly about mass incarceration, which is huge, because if you know anything about mass incarceration, you know that mass incarceration is a big business. Lots of billionaires make money off of mass incarceration. He speaks out against it, and so for money to be invested in him to do work against that is important in my opinion.
But I also have to, anytime they pick somebody, I'm always, my antennas go up, because it's like, because you're a fan of Ta-Nehisi, and that's the reason why I even know who he is, really. I mean, you mentioned the first, and I checked out some of this stuff.
And I told you still haven't read it. No, I actually read some of his stuff, and you still haven't read it, but it's okay.
I read some of his stuff.
No, you didn't.
I read over some of his stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's like I told you, it's kind of to a point where he might be a wordsmith, and that's why what I'm getting from him. He has a lot of, an elaborate way of explaining things, but it's really the same shit. Because like I do also agree with Dr. Boyce Watkins that there's a lot of people doing the same thing he does, which leads me to my point of why is he the guy? Why is he the nigga? Why is he the magic Negro? Why is he a nigga who like, yo?
I don't think he's the magic Negro. I think a magic Negro is somebody who does something because they've been told to, or because they get paid to, or because somebody wants them to, and they're the token. He says things that are not popular. He says things that he passionately believes in, and he has done it for a while without any recognition. And the longer that he's done it, it just so happened that people started to jump on his bandwagon. And I think that people, specifically a certain group of people, decided to do it because they were attracted to his writing. It's like the equivalent of like, a lot of people are comparing him to James Baldwin, and that's kind of been a debate. Like we talked about Michael Eric Dyson earlier. Michael Eric Dyson came out and spoke out against the fact that a lot of intellectuals and people in academics were comparing Ta-Nehisi Coates' writing to James Baldwin, in terms of the fact that, like, if you know anything about James Baldwin, he was somebody that spoke out publicly against the injustice against black people unapologetically. He said a lot of revolutionary things, but he said it in such an eloquent way that he got the ear of a lot of people, and a lot of people enjoyed his writing because, and maybe because I'm a word person, like, and I enjoy the way that, words come together in a way that a story can be told where it hits home, but it's said in a way that is deeper than like just stating things at face value. Like that means something to me. And so, like, for him to do that just because he has the ability to, not because it's the popular thing to do, or because like white people like it, is the difference. So I don't think he's a magic Negro.
So it's the fact that he says in a way that white people like it is the reason why he won the award. I mean, because I have to get by like I said, my point is the fact that he is chosen among a lot of people. Because another point that Dr. Boyce Watkins did make was that, I don't necessarily agree, is that he considered Umar Johnson to be in the same limelight, or the same, be able to hold the candles to Ta-Nehisi Coates. And, I'm indifferent, because I believe that, there's two different types of people there. Umar Johnson is an orator, and he goes around and he gives literally no And Dr. Boyce Watkins did, so I can do it too. Nothing against Dr. Umar Johnson, but his speech after a while is repetitive.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? So it's a difference between an orator and an intellectual writer who comes off the cusp of his head something different every time.
I agree with you.
It's a different, you know what I mean? It's a different article, it's a different argument, maybe the same thing, but it's different. So like, it's kind of hard to put those, because I read Umar John. I'm not gonna say all of it. I've read passages.
I would say he don't have a lot of writing.
You know what I mean? So I read his book. You know, his book, the academic Holocaust of the young black male, or something like that along those lines. But he's not a strong writer. But he didn't say he is. But you know, but I think it's a difference. But also when I say that Ta-Nehisi Coates did get that grant, but it's like Ta-Nehisi Coates has a grant in which he can create something over the next 5 years. You know what I mean? He can use that time, really a free time, to create whatever he was going to do. But I feel like what Umar Johnson does have a school who's constantly in need of money. He always asks for money.
He don't got the school yet.
But he has a school. He has a school idea, and it's fundraising. And he's taking donations. It's like that $600,000 would have been pretty good towards that. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, you know, when it comes to who decides this and the need of the community and everything like that, because also at the same time, Umar Johnson is attempting to put his hand on the community with the school. He's attempting to actually put a hand. Ta-Nehisi, we know he's a writer. He's going to write more. I mean, so what's more effective though?
We don't know. We don't know that though. We don't know the stipulations of what's required for the grant. Like it don't cost to write. So like he's not going to use $650,000 to write more.
It costs to write because while you're sitting in your house and you're writing, you got to pay bills.
But his writing pays his bills.
Then you got to take. You say you're gonna do research. You got to go interview. So you got to take plane rides.
But not necessarily. But I understand what you're saying. But that's not. I don't really see that happening. Like honestly, but also like we don't know like the stipulations of how the grant has to be used. Like I'm sure they have like policies for like how it should be used, and I just you know, based on you know what the research and what I've seen him do and speak out against it and be vocal about, it's to me it seems that like that would go towards something more effective than like something self-serving. You know, but you know I don't know, like obviously we don't know him personally, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's true that you know Umar, he talks a lot about his school, so he's talking about something that he wants to do, but that's a part of his like that's a part of his whole like brand, is to talk about what it is that he wants to do.
So you're saying that's maybe not be real, it might be an act?
No, I mean it's real. Like you know, he does have the video showing that the school that he wants to purchase, but I think that it's a part of a whole package at the same time. Like you can't he's smart enough to know that you just can't be out there talking. You gotta be like at the end of each one of your speeches that you do, you gotta pull at people's pockets. So you gotta have a product, you know what I mean? Like or else why would you be out there speaking? So his product is like, I talked about all this stuff. I just told y'all all these things, all these problems we have in our community, and now I want to build a school for boys, and I need y'all help. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is a person who, and I think it just comes down to more preference and what your taste buds allow. From myself personally, I am not a person that's into a person that talks a lot. I'm just not that type of person. I'm more of a person likes to see a lot more doing. So yeah,
I understand that. You know what I mean? But as far as like, okay, now the black community seeing that in a higher light, what would be the reason that the black community probably sees what Ta-Nehisi Coates in his award in a higher light.
So you're questioning Dr. Boyce's theory about how he feels like, a lot of black people are very happy about Ta-Nehisi Coast being awarded this grant, and then he feels that they're very happy about it because it's awarded by a predominantly white mainstream foundation. And so you want to know, like, why the black people tend to be, really overtly excited about that.
Right.
Obviously, I don't think, first of all, I don't think all black people are like, when I saw it, I thought it was really cool, and it had nothing to do with because it was a white establishment. I thought it was cool because I think that he's somebody that has the potential to do good work, and that he has the money now to do it. But there are black people out there that exist that feel like that's a good look because of the establishment that it's attached to. And obviously, that just goes back to the idea of thinking that, like, white is right, and once you are able to, like, infiltrate mainstream society, or what's in demand, and then you've made it, quote unquote, like it's kind of like in music. If you're a hip-hop artist, and you, like, go over to pop, then automatically you become, like, bigger, and so people think that that's the pinnacle of success, and it without valuing what was already there and was already. So basically, it's just like a talk behavior of thinking that, like, white culture is better than any other culture, and you should reach to get to that point without celebrating the culture around you. But even though that does exist, I don't feel like, especially with, like, black millennials, I think that idea is a bit outdated.
What's that? What idea is that?
You want me to talk this whole podcast?
No, just what idea?
That, like, white is right if you reach, if
okay.
you know what I mean, if you're able to, like, to be awarded by anything white mainstream, and you've made it.
I went to school, all white school, predominantly white. My black friends, a lot of them felt that I was in a better spot than them, getting better education, or just on a better echelon. And looking back, like, that was terrible for them to think that.
Well,
I understand.
It probably was true that you were getting better education, though.
Bullshit.
Not because it was mostly white kids that went to your school, but, like, literally because if you went to a public predominantly black school, that you did not have a lot of funds, so therefore you didn't have updated books, and you had low wage teachers who were burnt out and did teach effectively. That's the reason why.
Public school teachers actually get paid more than private school teachers.
But I think that in a lot of ways they're not treated better. I think that they are under-resourced, and so that burns them out because they feel like they don't have the tools and the resources to teach. They're teaching to a classroom of, like, 35 students, and then half of those students have, like, other social outside factors that come into the classroom, so it makes it very hard to teach. Like, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. We don't want to even get in that debate because I work at a school.
Yeah.
I know that dynamic. So I'm telling you for sure that I'm sure that you're in terms of the quality of education, it was better. Not because you were surrounded by white people. However, it is something to be said about when you do go to predominantly white schools or white institutions, it's funded better. So therefore, inherently, that there are better resources, and the quality of education is sometimes better. Not because they're white, but because they're funded white. But however, they are funded better because they are white. So it's a circle. It's a cycle.
So what do you think? One word, one yes or no. Umar or Ta-Nehisi Coast?
Why would you ask me that? You already know.
Because it fucking matters.
You know the answer.
I don't know it. Let them know.
Umar.
Umar?
I'm just kidding. You already know. That's not even a question. You know that Umar is not gonna be awarded no grant by nobody. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
But
you gonna get your ass whooped by these fans of the Abdullah.
No, I'm joking. Like literally, I don't. It makes it seem like I hate them. I really don't. It's just he's just not my cup of tea. You know, everybody have taste buds. He's like, you know, what is he? He's probably like Hennessy, and I'm more of like a I'm trying to compare
sister,
like type of
sister,
liquor.
he don't drink. Sister, are you telling
Get
me,
out of
sister?
here. He
don't drink. The only thing he drink is the libations.
Yeah, libations. But I mean, like I was just saying, like he's just not my taste buds. He's not my cup of tea.
Right.
But he's a very intelligent man, and I'm just saying that based on like his bravado and the way that he repeats himself and he doesn't bring anything new to the table, I don't think that he's gonna catch the ear of a lot of people who could possibly support him financially. And I'm not even talking about people who would like want to be like whitewash or think white is right. I'm just talking about like the everyday black person that kind of feels like, you know, they want to see their community get better, but it's just something about him that it's just like, you could be like, yeah, and I said this before, you follow him, like, yep, that's right, and then he's like, well, hold on, pump your brakes, or something come out in the media about him that is like, you know,
it's one time. Only take one time. But yeah, so I mean,
I can't get mad at me. I mean,
I just believe, you know, like Ta-Nehisi.
You feel the same way. You just don't want to say.
I agree. I mean, I believe he's a kind of a caricature.
Yeah.
And you know, Ta-Nehisi is more of a just
like on the Breakfast Club. He said to Angela, "I thought that was your hair," and it's like, you know, to me, I thought
that was Angela's hair.
It is her hair. It is her hair. But I felt like he said that in a way because, like, clearly her hair is more of like closer to like, you know, a European look, and so like it was something about that. So I was like, I really try to fall back from having a lot of discussion around it because until I figure out a way to articulate it. But bottom line to me is that he is not everything that he appears to be, and I'm gonna figure out a way to explain it to the people one day.
It's funny. Well, I don't know, man. I at the end of the day, conclusion, I believe that there are a lot of things that happen that play a part, and there are a lot of things happening that play a part in who wins such awards. I believe that people who win these awards should be put under a microscope by the black community, at least for a little while, because you never know, especially when somebody else tells you, when your oppressor...
Who are we to police anybody?
Because quote unquote, oppressor, I don't like to use the word oppressor and everything like that, but when the people in power, shit like that, start saying, hey, this is the person to pay attention to, are they going to empower you, or are they kind of like, I mean, so they kind of have a lot of blurred lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I'll be one, but I don't want to bash Umar because he's doing good work. You know what I mean? It might be repetitive work, but it's good work. You know what I mean?
What is he doing that's good work?
He's talking about it. I mean, he's putting it out there.
What is he talking about?
Umar? Mm-hmm. He's talking about...
Do you feel like it's good work?
I mean, he's making putting parents on notice, like, you know, there might be a parent who was going to take that $500 check to label their kid retarded and put them in special ed and you know,
okay,
put them on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff like that. And that's a portion of our community, because hell, Ta-Nehisi covers broad topics, but I mean, like, at the end of the day, what does he go in depth about? You know what I mean? So it's pros and cons to both. So I'll give him that. I mean, I mean, does he ever go in depth about anything?
all the time. That's what writers do. They have to.
But I mean, but it's like
they can't skim the surface.
Yeah, but when you write an article,
Speakers
it might be a
do.
long article. It might be a long article. But Umar Johnson, I give him the benefit of that is consistently, literally for years, every speaking engagement has been beating this thing. like Ta-Nehisi has like, you know, he writes an article. It might be long, it might be 25 words,
Maybe.
25,000 words.
Okay.
But it's like then it's on to the next article. Like we talked about earlier, it's the same pro as in you know the con.
He speaks too though.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Maybe he'll take that $600,000 to go and start speaking, and maybe he get his own damn school, Ta-Nehisi Coach School for writers and shit like that. Go for it. But yeah,
So much out there.
but until next time, man. That has been the Under the Influence Cocktails and Consciousness. I'm your host Caleb, and this is Ivory. And don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to comment on it, man. We want to know what you think, especially if you're one of the people we mentioned, Ta-Nehisi, Umar, Boyce Watkins. Go ahead, comment. Let us know how you feel. All right, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm signing off. Later.
Bye.